continuation of this series called Expert Connections. I am Julie Holton. I am the founder and principal strategist of Connexions marketing agency. We are an agency that works with a variety of clients of all sizes, all of whom are feeling the impact right now of coronavirus and COVID-19. Because of this, we have launched this special series called Expert Connections so that we can help put our clients, our community members, in touch with the information and resources that they're looking for right now. So we are so glad you're joining us. We've had thousands of people joining us since the series started on Sunday. We see you, we hear you, we are all in this together, even through the technical glitches we've experienced. So far, we've talked to a professional biohazard cleaning expert from Puro Clean of Mid-Michigan, a health and wellness expert about our own personal health and well-being, a business organizational expert from our own team at Connexions, about working from home. Yesterday, we talked to a community activist about what's being done in Lansing, how businesses are teaming up to help those, especially those who need food right now. Today, we want to talk about businesses, events and conferences being canceled or postponed. And so joining me live today to talk about all of this is Ashlee Willis, the founder, director, and CEO at Michigan Premier Events. Ashlee, I know you've been really busy, so thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to just take a quick moment. Those of you who are joining us, give us a thumbs up so we know you can hear us. Hopefully none of us drop off this live today. We're dealing with the technical, working from home, and you can see Ashlee's there in her home. I'm here in mine. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know you can hear us and join the conversation. Any questions or comments you have, we will be talking with you throughout this virtual chat. So Ashlee, I know you've been really busy. You work with private, nonprofit, and corporate clients. You work on a wide variety of events, both large and small. So tell us first, I'm sure your phone's been ringing as events have been changing and a lot of uncertainty about how long this will last and what's to come. So why don't you first just walk us through what's been happening in your world and what you've been telling your clients?
So thanks, Julie, for having me. There's been quite a few things that are happening. I know a lot of people, it's springtime or getting to be spring, and people are wanting to have a lot of their March events coming up, April events coming up, May events coming up. And with the the coronavirus happening, I know a lot of clients right now are just kind of in that panic mode of, do I continue on with my meetings? Do I continue on with my conference that's coming up? Do I continue on with, the events that are coming up? And right now, with everybody, having to be inside, I'm giving them the best advice, and that's, taking precautionary measures. When we're having these events, we have to think about not just our event as a whole, but the attendees. We have to think about the venues. We have to think about the vendors who are all involved, and we have to make sure that everybody, is taking precautionary measures. So one of the best things I'm proposing to clients and those who aren't clients who are reaching out for advice is to postpone your event. This just really allows you to move forward with the event because everyone's looking forward to that event, meeting, or conference. But postponing it really right now is the best bet to do because it allows you to take some time to strategize before that event comes up as we are getting through this time right now.
Absolutely. And that's what we're hearing too, Ashlee. I'm so glad you said that. Postponing instead of canceling. I know a lot of nonprofits, a lot of nonprofits depend on these events for their main source of funding, associations. And so certainly this has been a very tough time. Making these decisions has been extremely taxing on everyone. I think if we can all kind of take a beat and postpone and then reevaluate as time goes on, that's going to be the best decision in the long run, especially even for the venues. I mean, there are so many businesses that are impacted by this. Of course, the nonprofits and the companies that had these events on the books. Of course, many of us were looking forward to attending these events. So there's that business side as well as the personal side. But then we have all of the venues, all of the vendors, as you said, and they're having to make those tough decisions too about weighing safety versus commitment to their clients. And that's got to be really hard. Can you talk about that, Ashlee, about kind of the behind the scenes look at what's going into making those decisions?
Absolutely. It really all starts out to where you're hosting the event. Where is your event taking place, and talking to the venues. I know venues right now are at a time where they're really structuring internally with their staff, their faculty, about the precautionary measures they're taking to making sure their place that people are hosting events at are one that are safe, clean, being deep cleaning right now. Because I know a lot of venues right now have closed down just for this sake of this coronavirus that's going on. So it really starts out with the venues and having those conversations now with the venues. So that way you guys, as the collaboration with venues, that making sure that moving forward, postponing the event or having the event at a different time, everybody's kind of all in agreement, because really it comes down to the contracts that are being involved too with different vendors, looking over those contracts and seeing what was in the contracts, and really both parties really know what's going on, and really taking advantage right now of having those conversations.
Absolutely. So Ashlee, we have a question here from Terry, who is asking, can't people do things like this Facebook Live to keep things moving? Yes, Terry, we love that idea. I know our team at M Connections is working with clients and others in the community to help coordinate some of these virtual meetings, virtual conferences. Very early on, we saw a lot of the tech conferences, Adobe, Facebook, and others go virtual. I think we may see that as time goes on, so that we can keep people connected. Ashlee, are you seeing any trends like that of things going virtual?
Absolutely, especially with meetings right now. A lot of people are taking advantage of, the web conferencings that we have and the conference calls. And also with events, if you're having a small event, with attendees, utilize the virtual platforms that are out there right now. There's a lot of them out there right now that people could really utilize and just keep that momentum of their event, program, conference, or meeting going. This is the time really to utilize it.
Absolutely. I know our team has been kind of joking, well, like, let's hope the Wi-Fi doesn't go out, because that's how we work anyway. So, but absolutely, I think.
And with that, as you're switching from a different venue platform or a platform, it's really important to make sure you contact your attendees and everybody, all the stakeholders that are involved, and just let them know that transition. Now it's going to be a virtual, and people will understand that. And right now, people will probably take advantage of it and enjoy that engagement with us all, being confined in our homes.
Absolutely. Get a break from the kids, get a break from the spouses, and just feel connected to the community. We're social people, right? I know it's been helpful. I know for me personally, this morning, our M Connections call, we talked about creating a virtual happy hour and virtual coffee breaks. And so things like that. And certainly we can take that to scale for large events and help to still connect people. So your team, I know, is working on that, Ashlee. Our team can help. Stephanie says Wi-Fi issues, LOL. We know Wi-Fi issues all too well from prior to this. Certainly we don't want to make light of what's happening, but as humans, we tend to do that. And so we're calling those issues, your computer got a coronavirus. So the little things we can do to keep moving.
This is the time to take advantage of businesses that can assist with this. There's a lot of videographers that are reaching out. They can help with these type of meetings. I know your company can help out with meetings. So this is really the time to utilize the businesses out there that could really help fulfill those events, programs, and meetings for companies. This is the time where we really have to come together, take all of our resources, and strategize how our business community can really make an impact, helping each other out.
Absolutely. And Ashlee, I know you and I have both been taking note of all of the businesses that are offering pro bono services right now. I mean, certainly this is something that is not expected, but is greatly appreciated. So there are a lot of virtual webinars right now on how to use virtual meetings, how to set up a Zoom call or Google Meet. I know that Uno Deuce Multimedia is offering special rates right now for those that need to communicate through video to their constituents or to even their internal staff. Video messaging is a great way to be able to raise awareness of what you're going through and relate back to your audience. So kudos to all of these businesses that are stepping up. And I know, Ashlee, you've been taking a lot of calls and helping people that are not necessarily clients, but certainly community members. And so thank you for all that you're doing to give back as well.
Absolutely. Anything that can help sustain businesses. I mean, that's where we all have to come together and work as a team.
All right, so Dave has a pretty technical question. Dave wants to know, how does doing a conference work? What platforms are people using for small conferences, like 300 people? Is it a main broadcaster host that can switch speakers based on the agenda? Dave, I can tell you it definitely depends on, there are a lot of factors. It depends on your audience. It depends on the technical skill of your team and whether you're able to hire a company to come in and do this. Certainly a lot of moving parts and pieces there. Yes, there are broadcast platforms that can accommodate this, that allow people to tune in for a conference and switch between speakers, or just tune in once and then it's kind of a set and they're ready to go. So certainly these options are available. Ashlee, I'll let you jump in if there's anything you want to add to this.
Yeah, the first thing that you really need to do is figure out, what does your team really need to have a successful meeting? Do you have an agenda? Do you have documents? There's a lot of platforms out there that will allow you to utilize these items that you need to have for your meeting. So the first step really is understand, what does it take for you to have a successful meeting? If it's with 3 people, maybe it's just a conference call. If you're having 10 or more, there's platforms out there that could utilize a lot of attendees, and then will also allow you to utilize online documents. So as you're talking as a host, you can utilize your online documents and you can successfully talk to your team as if you were actually in a conference room. So that's really the first step. And then making sure, as you're looking through these different platforms, there's a lot of free ones that you can use. And a lot of the platforms are actually taking advantage and saying, hey, this is a free trial, or extending that free trial, because they know right now businesses are needing to use these types of services.
Absolutely. And, we also want to bring it back to basics too. I mean, send out a memo, send out an email to your staff, letting them know what enter a meeting on mute, how to, some of those basics that maybe you haven't been using every day, but will help you to greatly reduce some of that stress and frustration of even being able to navigate these platforms.
And these platforms too allow you to have fun, because right now there's a frustration point, of course, with, having these meetings, but these web conferences allow you to really have fun and be engaged with your team here, and making the meetings a lot fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, I mean, I know it's not even noon yet here on the East Coast, but I'm looking forward to a virtual happy hour already. I'm sure we can all use a break of some sort throughout the day.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave has another question. How can we leverage the platforms being digital to improve the value prop versus in person? Dave, I think the first answer to that is the fact that right now, we laugh, we talk about the stress and anxiety, but the reality is that right now we have to be safe and we have to follow these guidelines and instructions, because something very serious is happening, outside our doors. And so it's very important for us to be self-isolating at home with our families, making those trips out of the home very minimal at this point. Of course, the governor of Michigan, for example, has already signed an executive order limiting the size of gatherings to lower than 50. We've seen restaurants and bars close, things like that, safety measures that are going into place across the country. And we've seen other countries that have actually imposed full quarantines, where people are not allowed to leave their homes except for very certain reasons. So yes, of course, in the backdrop of all of this, which is actually the point of all of this, is something very serious happening that we need to be aware of. So the first value prop the value proposition, as Dave is asking, is that we're all staying safe. We're all staying healthy. We're stopping, we're flattening the curve. We're stopping the spread of this disease, and we're doing the part that we need to do. And so I think first and foremost, getting that messaging out that you are doing your part as an individual, as a corporation, as a nonprofit, that you're keeping the community safe. You're working to keep your staff and your constituents safe. So first and foremost, while all of this is still happening, that's going to be the biggest value that you're bringing to your audience. And Ashlee, I'll let you jump in because I know there's a lot of other things, as businesses or nonprofits, organizations are moving towards these digital conferences and events. There's a lot of value that they can still provide to their members.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things is utilizing your social media, being that communication piece to your attendees, letting them know that you are either going to postpone the event or have the event digital. Giving them that type of information and being really engaged with your audience is really one of the most important things. Your audience is really going to be, considerate of what's going on, and they're thinking to themselves is, what are you going to do with this event? Am I going to be safe if you have the event? What are the precautions there? And so just staying in communication with your attendees is one of the most important things in how you're putting your communication out there. And another thing to think about too is what does your event look like after this happens, after this, kind of goes down? Still taking those precautionary measures, still having, when you have an in-person event. Those are the kind of things to strategize too, as this, will simmer down hopefully quickly. We can start having, events person to person. But those are the things in the meantime, too, is to strategize because things are going to be looking different now. People are going to have a different perspective of things. And we want to make sure that once we can have our events, going fully person to person, we have strategies in place to making sure attendees know that they're going to be safe. Maybe we can start now having sanitation stations actually at events now. We can have signs that say, it's important to wash your hands. It's important to, when you sneeze and cough, cover your mouth. Having those kind of things now is something that we need to really be strategizing as we're moving our events forward, 4-6 months later from here.
Absolutely. Really great tips there, Ashlee. Is there anything else you want to add? Anything else that is important in your world that you really think people should know about right now or consider as they're making some of these decisions?
Absolutely. At a financial component, I know people are really going to be, if they're not panicking now, they're going to start panicking a little bit, when it comes to the financial component to events, because I know with events, this could be a revenue source for your company or your organization. And right now is a great time to really strategize what a backup plan could be if attendees were to refund during or postpone. Having a backup plan and strategizing that internally with your team is really important to do now. So that way, when things do come up, you are prepared for that. And just looking over, with the vendors and the contracts, really, this is the time to be communicating with them and strategizing a plan for your event that you're postponing, rescheduling, 6 months or whenever you postpone it. Those are the things that need to be happening now that could be really critical to your event later on as you reschedule that. But the most important thing is stay engaged with your attendees, stay engaged with your vendors, your venues. Those are the most important things. As long as you're communicating and have a full understanding of what could happen next, those are the key things to really be focusing on. And also have that conversation with your venues is once you reschedule, if you have to postpone again. Those are some questions you really want to talk to your venues about too, because your venues, they have an understanding. They want to keep your business just like you want to have your business. So those are the key components to do right now to really think about.
Absolutely. Big ripple effect here with these events. And certainly as you're strategizing or as you're making these decisions, I would recommend reaching out to Ashlee and her team at Michigan Premier Events because, Ashlee, this has been very helpful. And I know you've got a lot going on. So thank you for lending your expertise here. Ashlee, what's the best way for people to reach you if they have more questions or if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, reach me through email at info@michiganpremierevents.com. You can also go to the website at michiganpremierevents.com. Also, we are working on creating some really cool PDFs for businesses and organizations to utilize and have during their meetings. And then also we're going to have some really cool tips for companies to use for, as they're strategizing, putting together, or, postponing and rescheduling their events. So a lot of educational components and tips for everyone.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to sharing those out through M Connections, and certainly jump over and like Michigan Premier Events on Facebook so you can stay in the know on that and get that information when it comes out. Ashlee, thank you so much. We have more experts we're going to be talking to, like Ashlee, as the week goes on. Coming up this afternoon, in just an hour and a half at 1 o'clock Eastern, Sherry Pash, who is a business development consultant, she's offering a free webinar next week. So already taking some of these tips that Ashlee's been talking about and putting them to play, a free webinar about how to continue making these networking connections now that events have been canceled. So how do we do that virtually? So she's going to join us this afternoon. Very timely to hear from her and have her talk about all of this. So Ashlee, thank you so much. And we will see you all back here this afternoon at 1 o'clock.
Thank you.